This is what's left of my Polaris three-wheeler. And if you know anything about them, you know this is the rarest machine that I own. And today, I'm gonna be substantially modifying the frame. So let me bring you in for a closer look and show you just what we're doing. All right, so basically the stock fenders that come on this machine are super ugly. So let me show you what those look like real fast in case you don't remember. So you can see they're really ugly. And basically I have this idea that I want to run Scrambler 400 plastics on it just because they're a lot sportier. It's a two-stroke three-wheeler. It should be sporty. So anyways, basically what we need to do is we're gonna have to cut off the factory seat and fender mount, I should say. And you know, I do feel kind of bad about modifying the frame on this thing, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna sell this thing, so I don't really care that much. Plus, it's already broken. So, I mean, it's not that broken, I could fix that pretty easily, but you know, it kind of gives me a reason to actually justify cutting this off. So let me show you the tank and the fenders on here so you can get a better idea of what I'm planning. So, as you can clearly see, these fenders do not sit flat on the frame at all. So my thought process is by cutting off those brackets, I'll then be able to put the fenders actually flat on the frame. It'll actually kind of look like it was meant to come from the factory that way. I think I can make it work, so trust me. The only complicated thing is I'm gonna have to basically combine two seats somehow. So I'm gonna take the front half from the 1985 seat and graft it onto, or I guess like combine it with a Scrambler 400 seat. So that will definitely be interesting to try and figure out. But now that you know what we're doing, let's start cutting. So I was planning on just using my cut-off wheel and just cutting this thing clean off and then trying grinding down like what was left. But I think what I might do, because there's not very much weld on here, so I might try and use my actual grinding disc to remove all of the weld and then see if I can knock this thing off intact in case I ever want to go back to stock for some reason. So we'll start with that, see how long it takes, and I might just abandon that plan. So safety glasses, obviously, don't mess with your eyes. But anyways, here goes nothing. Nope. Alright, let's try that again. Sick. It worked out really well, actually. I think this one's going to be more difficult because we've got the battery box right here, which I think I might cut the battery box off because I'm not going to use electric start. You know what, we might as well. We already tore up the frame, might as well. See if I got this one first time. Nope. Oh, I don't know, it might be close. Yeah, I'm counting it. This one's kind of tore up. It's like all bent. I wonder what, it looks like looks like somebody shot it, honestly. I don't know, interesting. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna cut it off. I'm gonna bend this bracket down first though to make this a little bit easier. You know what? I should be able to get in there. That wasn't quite as clean, but it is off. I think it's pretty stout. It's gotta be like at least 3 pounds. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up all these welds, and then I'll catch back up with you once we're on to the next step. Don't even know what that is yet. So I've got things flattened out back here, and I think what I'm gonna do now is put back on our swing arm and our front fork, or front forks, and then kind of see what this thing looks like with the suspension on, and then also put the fenders on there, so that way we can make sure, you know, we don't have like a 4-foot long seat or something where we mount our fenders, or that the fenders actually look correct in relation to the wheels and tires. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I went ahead and put our lower triple on. And why is this locked up? All right, let's give this a shot. Actually didn't go too bad. I do have, I think, at least one. Oh, jeez. It is really hard to move around a 3-wheeler frame, I will say. What I was saying is, I do have one more cool part that I didn't show you in the last video, so pretty excited about that. So let me go pull it out. So this right here is the swing arm off of a 1987 Polaris Cyclone, which, if you remember, I got the top end and pipe and carb off of a Cyclone. The rest of that video got cut off for some reason, but basically what the Cyclone is it was like Polaris's answer to the rest of the Sport Quad 2-strokes in the 80s. It was just a really souped up version of their 250. It made 30 horsepower from the factory, which is pretty cool for a motor that normally makes like 20. And it just had a bunch of neat little quirks, like the swing arm I'm about to show you. And it also had like a factory starter delete, so it had like a delete plate, which is really cool. You can use on other machines. It had a bunch of other like cool parts that you can use on other machines. They're like more sporty than your normal Polaris stuff. And one of those cool parts is a factory extended swing arm. So it's 1 inch longer than like this typical 3-wheeler and old like 80s Polaris swing arms. So just kind of cool. But anyways, I thought that'd be good on a 3-wheeler to help, you know, keep it from dumping me over backwards. All right, so there's a better look at the swing arms side by side. So as you can see, the stock swing arm, it's got, well, stock swing arm has this little spacer in there, and then that's where the 1 inch difference comes from. So let me flip them on their sides here. Jeez, that was loud. So not crazy long, or not like a crazy amount longer than stock, but should help prevent us from flipping over backwards. Let's get this thing on there. So what I'm gonna do is just loosely bolt this thing in place. This thing actually has pretty good bushing, so I'm surprised. All right, there's a little bit of play. So it's not quite lining up. It's just barely off. I think it's because our tires have different inflation levels. I might air them up and see if that helps. All right. I think I might just call that good enough for mock-up purposes. Also, you might notice on here, it's actually set up to run dual shocks, which I think is kind of funny. It's a funny 80s solution to horrible suspension, but we will not be doing that. Hopefully, actually this is a good time to test fit my idea for this. So I had the idea to use the shock out of a non-concentric 400. I think should work just based on looking at this. It's so funny looking at the stock shock on here after seeing that one, because even the normal Polaris shocks are kind of wimpy to begin with, as I'm sure most of you guys know. Go ahead and throw the tank and the plastics on. Does look pretty cool. Also, I never mentioned why I'm getting these fenders versus our black ones we had on there. So I was a little premature on cutting the black fenders. I basically cut out everything in here to make the black fenders work, which I guess I can show you those real quick. And because of that, I can't mount a seat to it. So basically I decided I'll just get a different set of fenders, I guess. It is really a shame because these black plastics are really nice. I should not have cut them. I've spent a pretty insane amount of time just like staring at this thing, and I think I've decided that's more or less where the plastic should go. Really, my only concern with it is I'm worried about making the seat look ridiculously long when we step back. So if you look at it from a little bit further away, I can't decide if that seat's gonna look ridiculous or not. I'm trying to like visualize it in my head, but I think it'll be okay. Another thing that I've been looking at is like the actual grab bar relative to the plastics. And I think that it's gonna be pretty good right there, because the grab bar sticks out probably like 4 to 6 inches, and it'll protect our silencer. So now with the fenders out of the way, here's what my plan is. So we have these factory like mounting tabs for the plastics, and I already have hardware that works with them and all that. So basically all I'm gonna need to do is move these to where I want the plastics to sit now, which I think it should be pretty easy, I hope. I've kind of like scribed in there with you're not gonna be able to see it because I used a pick, but I have a rough idea of where I want them to be. So I'm gonna cut those off with a grinder, and then I guess we'll just re-weld them to where I want them to be. So I guess let's get back to grinding. These cuts are a little higher stakes just because I do intend on reusing them, like the pieces we're cutting off, that is. So I'm gonna try and be extra careful. I am gonna remove the gas tank though, just in case there's any vapor in there. Didn't even think about that. All right, that one did not come off very cleanly. Oh well. Sweet. All right, there we go. Now, we just need to replace these. Not like put new ones on, but put them on there again. And luckily, the spacing like across the frame is the same. So we have that going for us. So basically what I'm doing now is I've got a flat edge on both of it, touching both of them. And I'm just measuring to make sure they're the same distance front to back, and they are. Double check spacing one more time. It's right about perfect. So let's break out the welder. About to see some ugly welding. Well, I did say it was going to be ugly. Well, I knew it was going to be ugly, but that's impressively ugly even for me. I'm definitely going to be grinding these. Alright, I gotta lock in on this one because you guys are really going to be able to see it. I'm gonna let that cool off, then we can test fit the fenders. Fellas, it did work. However, I'm an idiot. So the way that the 400 seat and plastics work together, unlike the 400s, is that the frame is flat, and then like there's pads on the seat, like right there, and basically that like rests against the frame. And if I come over here, I've got a bunch of stuff on there, but you can see they're mounted flat to the frame. So with the three-wheeler mounts that I just welded on there, they elevate the plastics, and so the seat can't sit flat. So basically, I'm gonna have to cut those off. And what I'm gonna have to do is just drill holes in the frame and thread those and have my bolts thread straight into those to hold the plastics to the frame, if that makes sense. So I guess I'm just gonna, there's already been way too much grinding in this video. So I'm gonna go and cut those off on my own, and I'll catch back up with you guys whenever I'm, I guess, drilling holes or something. So I'll see you then. Well, that was a really frustrating realization, but I've got the new holes marked, so now we can just go ahead and drill. So it shouldn't be that bad. Well, all the holes are lined up, so that's a good sign. All right. Here's more or less what it'll look like. Here, I guess I should put the tank on. That's more or less what it'll look like. I do need to cut off those side tabs on the plastic, but unlike my last set of plastics, I'm not going to prematurely cut these because It was very expensive to do. But I guess that's more or less it for the top side framework. So now we gotta tackle the enormous holes in the bottom of the frame. So I'm gonna tear all of this down back to the bare frame. So I guess I'll do that off camera, and then we can meet back up once I'm ready to start welding up some holes. Also, you guys should sign up to be channel members. I just got approved for that, and it would really help me out, because most of the time when I'm not putting out content, it's not because I have nothing to film, it's because I have no money to make the content. So if that interests you, in return, I'll make specific videos for you guys on kind of my ideas for projects and some of my porting stuff. If you're interested in that, you should definitely sign up. So I went ahead and got this thing stripped down and flipped around. So obviously, this is what we're tackling next. We got some pretty nasty holes in the frame. So I actually went to a steel supply store for the first time today. Picked up some DOM tubing, or that I hope is the correct size, which I know is the correct OD. I just don't know the wall thickness of this stuff. So not that it really matters, but anyways, I think I'm just gonna cut out as little as I can, and then I guess come back in here and I guess cut off a piece of that, weld it in. So I guess let's do some more cutting. This is a little bit more high stakes than the cutting up top, so I'm gonna do my best. Alright, so basically what I've done is I've taken those pieces we just cut off and I marked, like used them as a template on our new tubing. So I'm gonna cut these out and then I'll get back with you whenever we're welding. Alright, so I did get our pieces cut out, and we're gonna have some pretty crazy gaps because, as it turns out, it happens to land on like where the bend is already happening, which is unfortunate. But we'll make it work. I've got a hammer and I've got a welder and a grinder, so I can make just about anything work, I think. Now, I did actually clean the surface this time, so maybe I can get less disgusting results. Oh yeah, it's burning straight through. Not ideal. Well, I still need to go back and clean it up some more, but I mean, that's more or less it. It looks, you know what, it's better than it was. It doesn't have gaping holes in it, so I'll take that. I just need to go do the other side, but I'm gonna do that off camera because I don't need more wire and this is probably getting extremely boring for you guys. Also, I did want to mention October 15th through 18th, we are having a Polaris 400 or 250 meetup at Little Sahara in Oklahoma. So if you have a 400 or 250, I'd love for you guys to come out. I'm giving away, well, me and my friend are giving away a pipe, ported cylinder, and maybe some more stuff depending on if we can get any companies on board. So I'd really love to see a lot of built 400s in one place. That'd be super cool because I've only ever seen mine and my friends out there. So you guys should come out. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the 3-wheeler frame so that way I can drop it off at powder coating so that way we can finally get this thing back together. It's been driving me crazy not being able to drive this thing. Plus all the parts everywhere just take up so much space. But that is everything I have to do to the frame. Next video, I will be working on the 400. I think I've got some cool stuff for that. But if you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I love reading them. And join the channel as a member. So that's all I have for you, and I hope to see you in the next one.